Что для вас важнее всего? Свобода выбора? Быть собой и дышать полной грудью? Свобода совершать открытия и достигать собственных вершин? Или это забота о том, кто рядом? Может, о тех, кто так далеко, но так близко к сердцу? Или это уверенность в завтрашнем дне? Сегодня, в условиях постоянно меняющегося мира, нам необходима надежная поддержка, которая появляется благодаря проверенным и честным партнерским отношениям, даря уверенность, а самое главное, делая вас свободным, чтобы сохранить для вас самое ценное – время. Ваш партнер – Камертон Плюс. 20 лет в сопровождении международных сделок.
Приветствую вас. Я Павел Долгов, топ-эксперт.
Pavel Dolgov, communications expert, vice president of exporters and importers. I am not a theoretician, I'm a practitioner. I do 20 years of international relations. I am a co-founder of some companies and more than 10,000 events. I am a creator and head of the organizing committee. What I can do for you? I can find partners for you, marketing, correspondence. This is all mine. My team share knowledge, saving your time and money. It's more efficient and safer with me. I'm always accessible. Join Import-Export Association.
И мы снова в эфире, я правильно понимаю? Михаил? Так, мы в эфире или нет?
Are we online? We are online. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. We go on with the spring session. We are online, live, and next session is international practice in female entrepreneurial business, US business and Africa, India. I'm the moderator, Veronika Peshkova, Goodwill Ambassador UNIDO. Afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you, Pavel, for introductions. Today's discussion is dedicated to the real practice in the development of female entrepreneurship and instruments enabling Russian women enter international markets and women of other countries to interact with Russia, because oftentimes when we speak about female entrepreneurship, it is considered to be a local initiative, small, micro. Today we'll speak about possibilities, how female business works, and why is it so important. Currently, according to Federal Tax Administration in Russia, women account for 40% of entrepreneurs. That's a significant indicator showing activity of our women. On the other hand, only 5% of women entrepreneurs are exporters, although according to surveys, 20% of female exporters have been thinking about exporting. We'll speak about the best practices and instruments of support that would enable more women to find international partners, to enter international space and implement their projects so that it will show itself on the international platform. I'm glad that as the first speaker today, we'll have a wonderful lady, an enthusiast who proved to be so in Chicago, Alexandra Yefimova, who established Russian Point, who won the American market, who was awarded the global prize of Ernst and Young, and is the head of the Moscow Chicago Sister Cities community. If I list all those Alexandra's advantages, will use up all the time. Alexandra, please, when I say that I know the person who managed to win the American market with a Russian product, the most popular reaction is it possible? Please tell us about your project. And the second question, how, in your opinion, a Russian female entrepreneur entered the American market? The floor is yours, Alexandra. Thank you, Veronica, for your warm welcome. I am glad to welcome you from sunny Florida. I will share with you my story of building business in America starting 1998. I will speak about 5 important subjects which I would recommend to managers to think about when they decide to enter American or any international market. And I will also answer to the frequently asked questions. Will Russian goods be in demand? How to find your niche and adapt your goods for the American market. Let's begin. Currently, my portfolio has 3 brands: Russian Puan, dancing goods, which I will dedicate most time, FLX stretch training, which I purchased a year ago. These are accessories for rehabilitation and stretching and certification of sports coaches. 5678, where I interview extraordinary persons in sports and dancing and culture. My first brand, Russian Point, started in 1998, and next month will celebrate 23rd anniversary. At that time, I lived in the US for 4 years. I was a student in the university. All my life, I liked arts and dances. I graduated Petersburg Hermitage Art School, but I studied business. And as many students in America, I paid for my tuition and all other expenses. Most students in the US work. I also worked, and in one of our courses on entrepreneurship, we built a business plan. You could dream of any plan, and I decided to write about things I like, arts and dance. And my country, Russia. In 1998, I started to think about the most famous things about Russia. The first cosmonaut, oil and gas, vodka, and belly. And then I decided to concentrate on belly. And sitting in the dorm, uh, I started a business. I got together with Russian producers of points for the Bolshoi, for the Kirov, for the choreographic schools, and they sent me the first box of points. And without giving much thought, I called it Russian poem. At the time, I had no vision for more than 20 years. I didn't think it would become a multi-million brand. I really needed to pay for the next semester, and I thought I would work for a large corporation in the US. I didn't imagine my American dream would come true, and I will create jobs and establish ties between countries. I started the base brand with one product, the Point, and currently we broadened the assortment full-fledged for all types of dance, ballet, jazz, modern, America, and we give a full-scale dresses, accessories, shoes, whatever is necessary for dancers. We have two distribution centers in America and in Europe. We sell to 600 specialized shops, and we have successful e-commerce sales. Other brands, FLX Stretch Training, we sell through gyms and dance schools and Amazon. So I hope my example will show you how Russian goods properly presented to the American market and global market, properly positioned, can be demanded and become brands. What's an American market? More than 330 million people living in the US. GDP, more than 63,000 per capita, which is the highest in the world. So American market is large and hungry and interested in new goods, something unique and interesting. I would recommend all the brands who are sure at the local market and have maybe also other experience, consider American markets as a potential for good growth. Question one, I would recommend to ask who want to enter American market, why do you want to work on the American market? I think most entrepreneurs asked, why do we start this business in the first place, or this particular business? Entry to the American market is large and expensive. So first, ask yourself, why are we doing it? This picture from one of the Chicago skyscrapers shows the situation to find the right solution. Internet sales have been developing fast, particularly during the last year of the pandemic, so it creates additional possibilities for exporters. Building a business is hard. My mentor has always told me it's easier to build business in the niche with a way wind rather than opposite wind. You should have a mega trend niche. I have several mega trends we see worldwide and in America in particular. When we look at your commodity and services, make sure they are in the mega trend development. It's easier to develop in the sphere where there is way wind. We see mobility of life, delivery, animal-related businesses, sports are very popular, and life expectancy is growing. So we see all the goods and services related to longevity. When I started 23 years ago, dancing industry was not very fast growing. It was a stable industry growing with population. Currently, when I got a new FLX business, domestic sports is also growing. So I was quite enthusiastic about this new sports business. I recommend everybody to look at the businesses which are in the mega trends. Third, I am always asked, will Russian goods be demanded? And I said, look at your brand not as a brand made in Russia, but a brand which is of quality, innovative, better than the competitors' goods. There will always competition for any goods and services. Think critically how you can be better through quality, through innovation, through fast delivery, low price, better services. As my experience shows, it's easier to enter narrow specialized market, but have a broad vision for growth. When you consider what to begin with on the American market, think what goods will be easier to attract attention and then go broader. As you have seen, purple is the color of our brand, so our packaging is our signature brand color. One size doesn't fit all. The US is a very diverse country. It is very comprehensive geographically and ethnically, which creates certain difficulties and good opportunities. Briefly about three brands which positioned themselves well for ethnic groups. Goa, Latino food, which started with beans. They positioned themselves with full-fledged assortment for Latino population in the US. We give Russian pointe, ethnic colors for points, pantyhose, clothes, and all other accessories. And they have become very popular. I'm glad we made this decision. On the right, you can see shampoos for women and men with ethnic hair, lots of cosmetics, shampoos have been used now. So when you consider your goods, look at them, how much it can be adapted. Adaptation can be with adaptation of certain functions of your goods. It's very important to make sure your packaging not only is translated into English, but also meets the sizes and requirements that exist here in the US. Measuring system is in ounces and inches. Your adaptation is not just translation, it's beyond that. And as the previous speaker spoke about franchises, each state is a jurisdiction, its own franchise registration rules, which is also true about other rules of company registration, taxation, employment, and VAT and taxation. We shall look at America not only like 50 states, but 50 countries. It's important when you choose partner, sign contracts, or VAT and taxation is different not only in different states, but also in different counties. In one town, there are several counties, and VAT, sales VAT or sales tax is different from the other county, which creates many difficulties for accountants and entrepreneurs. But make sure you're doing it correctly, because these small cracks may sink your ship. In conclusion, I want to share one of my favorite statements, that a ship in the harbor is safe, but ships are not built for that. I wish you success so that your goods and services are demanded not only on the American, but also globally. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Александра.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Для меня, знаете, такой, с одной
To
стороны,
me, on the one hand,
50 штатов, 50
there are
стран,
50
это даже
states and
немножко
countries.
откровение.
It was
А
kind
с
of a
другой
revelation
стороны,
to me,
я
but on the other
понимаю,
hand, I
что
understand
если захотеть, то,
that
возможно,
if you
ничего
wish,
невозможного.
nothing
Вот это то
is
впечатление,
impossible.
которое
That's my impression
производит ваш
from
опыт.
your
И,
experience.
уважаемые участники
Dear
и
participants,
участницы
male and
нашей
female,
сессии,
of this
очень
session,
важно
it's very
задумываться о
important
том,
to
что
think
не только бренд, сделанный в
not
России,
only
может быть
about
глобальным,
the
но и
Russian
тот
brand
факт,
that can be global, but
что
also the
бизнес,
fact that
который ведет женщина, это тоже определенным образом можно
female
позиционировать
business
на
can be
международной
positioned
арене.
also on the
И
international market.
в массе стран сегодня
In many
идет
countries
активная
today,
работа по
there is
продвижению
active
именно
work
женских
underway to
предпринимательских
promote
инициатив.
female
Кроме
entrepreneurial
того, что
initiatives,
женщины это
in
большинство
addition to
мирового
the fact
населения,
that women
плюс к
account
этому
for the
потенциал
majority of global
развития
population, the
женского
potential of
предпринимательства
female
не только с
entrepreneurship,
точки зрения
not only in terms
правочеловеческого
of
аспекта,
human
а с
rights,
точки зрения
but also
экономики.
in terms of economy.
Задумайтесь,
Think over it.
если женщины будут
If
вовлечены в
women are
экономику так
involved
же,
in
как
the economy
мужчины,
as much as
то это
men,
позволит
it will
прибавить к
enable to
мировой
add
экономике
to the
еще
world
одну
economy
экономику
another
Китая и
economy of
еще одну
China, another
экономику вот тех
economy
самых Соединенных
of
Штатов Америки,
the
про которые
United
мы с вами
States
послушали.
we just
Вот
mentioned.
такой это
This
гигантский
is the
потенциал. В нашей
gigantic
стране
potential.
сейчас
In
идет
this
очень большая
country,
работа
there is a
по
lot of work underway
развитию и
to
стимулированию
develop,
женского
stimulate
предпринимательства.
female
В этом
entrepreneurship.
году
This
состоится
year,
третий
there will be the
Евразийский
third
женский
Eurasian
форум.
Female Forum.
Лидером форума является самая
It is led
высокопоставленная
by the
женщина нашей страны
high-ranking
Валентина
woman,
Ивановна Матвиенко.
Valentina
И
Matvienko,
Совет Евразийского
and the
женского форума
Eurasian
активно
Female
взаимодействует с
Forum
Организацией
Board
Объединенных Наций по
actively
промышленному
cooperates with
развитию ЮНИДО
with UNIDO
в реализации
in the
проектов поддержки женского
implementation of
предпринимательства.
projects
И одно
on
из
female
направлений,
entrepreneurship. One of
которые мы
the
ведем, это и
domains
выход
is
женщин-предпринимателей на международную
entry to
арену и
international
развитие
markets for
компетенций, в
women,
том числе в области
development of
цифры.
competencies, including in
Чуть позже
digital
остановлюсь даже
economy.
поподробнее на этой
Later,
тематике,
I will
потому
dwell
что
upon
сегодня
about that
именно после
more. But
пандемии
today,
женщины
after
пострадали
the
больше,
pandemic, women
но
suffered
и
more.
получили
On the
новые
other hand, they
возможности.
got
И
new
я вот
opportunities,
с
and
радостью
I
сейчас
would
передаю
gladly give the
слово
floor
моему давнему
to my
партнеру,
old
коллеге,
partner and
госпоже
colleague,
Перминдер Джиткаур, которая
Perminder
представляет
Rashid-Kaur,
Ассоциацию
who
торгово-промышленных палат
represents the
Индии.
Association of
И
uh,
Перминдер признанный
cha-
лидер женского
commercial
предпринимательского
chambers in
движения,
India.
очень дружественно
Perminder is a
расположенный
leader
к
who is
России. Мы
very
далеко не
friendly
один
with
проект
Russia.
сделали вместе.
We
Я надеюсь,
have
что
done
это
many projects, and I hope
только еще
it's
ранняя стадия
just the
наших
early stage of
беседы.
our
Вот
relations.
как
Perminder,
обстоит дело с развитием женского
what's the
предпринимательства в
situation
Индии,
with female
одном из
entrepreneurship
самых
in
больших рынков
India,
мира.
one of the largest markets in the world?
И мы, так знаете,
And
осторожно думаем, что, наверное,
we
было бы можно
conservatively think that probably
взаимодействовать с
it's
вами,
possible to interact with
чтобы
you
индийские женщины
so that
взаимодействовали с
Indian
нашим
women would
рынком.
interact with our market.
Расскажите, какова
Please
ситуация
tell
у
us
вас
about the
сейчас
situation
и
in your country
ваша
currently,
экспертная
and
оценка,
what's your
как
expert
российским и
assessment?
индийским
How
женщинам
women in
от
India and
дружбы
Russia
наших стран получить больше?
can
Перминдер,
get more
слово вам.
from the friendship of our countries? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Спасибо.
Veronica. I'm really honored and delighted to be here among all of you. If I may just also share my slide with you. I hope I'm able to share it. Right, so here we go. As you rightly said, there's a lot which can be done jointly between the two countries. And for the audience who are there, I would like to begin by sharing the ecosystem. What is women entrepreneurship in India? What little bit it was in the past and how it's evolving and what more can collectively be done. I come from this part of the world where traditionally women were never associated with entrepreneurship. So it's only in last 2-3 decades where women leaders and several forums have worked extensively to relate women entrepreneurship to a respectable profession for women. We still have long way to go. If we look at 2015 Global Entrepreneurship Development Institutions Female Entrepreneurship Index, we are far behind than leading economies and many of the peer countries. We are only at 20th percentile. But having said so, over the years, we are seeing a positive change. There is a development from a level of 13-14%. We are at 20% now. In our small and medium entrepreneurs ecosystem, there are 58.2 million MSMEs, but only women are managing or leading at 8.05 million, which is of course changing with a lot of initiatives which the government has taken. And we see a lot of startups are coming. Young women in the age group of 20 to 30, they are coming forward to be entrepreneur, and that number is a really decent number, 35.5. And traditionally, our women have been more into creative industry, handicraft, handloom, but we are seeing a change. Women are going more into science-based entrepreneurship programs, and they are going more into the education sector. That's a little change which we are seeing. Some of the practices and the program which we adopted before that, I just want to share that, like anywhere in the world, women in our part as well have the same issue. There are market access issues, there are policy support, there is lack of financial support. And we did several studies here to find out that the women actually lack uh, the ideas and the thoughts how to manage their business, how to handle their accounts. They're afraid of the competition. They don't have the access to technology, access to information and the funding, and then the social stigma of being negatively seen in the society, or the discrimination of the gender has all put forward uh, a fear among the women not to go much in the entrepreneurship. But that is slowly changing, and some of the positive sets and schemes which has been adopted by the government, by the organizations such as are helping women come forward. They are helping accelerate the women entrepreneurship, and these are all in various elements I would put forward. Policy, there has been substantial change in supporting women in terms of policy. There are a substantial number of programs which are being run to upskill women, help them with the products, give them access to the market, create tailored solutions for them, and also financially support women, because funding is one key factor which has been discovered by us, a major challenge for the women entrepreneurs to come forward. And the financial literacy, of course. So there are a couple of programs which we have run, and these are good programs which we have seen positive result. They have resulted in a positive outcome with the development of women, especially those who are keen to export out, as well as these are the programs which are being adopted by other Asian economies in our neighboring countries, and I'm sure these can be adopted across the board by anyone. So we have just few programs which I have listed just to give the sense that where we are today and how we are supporting women in this part of the world. We have Government of India Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. They made a drastic change in terms of policy, where they ensured that women-led entrepreneurs are having secured orders towards the government sector requirements. That was a positive step, because that gave a lot of a motive for women to come become an entrepreneur and go into the manufacturing sector. Then somewhere in 2018, one of our state governments took up an initiative of incubation, V Hub, so which did a lot of hand holding, provided capital, infrastructure, technical support, mentorship, and almost up to the loan of 20 million was provided to these women to start their own businesses and their own enterprises. Like this, there has been a very large program for a small micro businesses, which is Man Deshi Foundation, which has done substantial number of work to help women entrepreneurs. Uh, Finance, as I said, was the key factor for women not to take. So we have some of the leading banks in India giving support to women in terms of almost collateral free loans, uh, hardly any security requirement, and they are even giving a long term to let the woman repay back these loans. Another key factor which I wanted to bring in was the Startup India program, which was launched in India by 2016, and it's the world's highest largest startup ecosystem, where a lot of women entrepreneurs were incubated and have developed. And there are online arrangements, there are online portals like Udyam Shakti, which are helping 8 million women connect and share their knowledge, do hand holding, get the idea on the market survey, business plan, incubation facility. And these are all the initiatives which have been taken either with support of overseas agencies like US State Department, Global Initiative is there. And all these initiatives, technology initiatives, are only to help women grow. And we are seeing that these are having an impact on the women, and they are not only just looking at the domestic market, they are trying to go internationally. They want to reach out to the world with the new projects and the new thoughts. And to support women take up more initiatives, there are specialized programs being run to help women capture the international market, which also includes giving them the opportunity to travel abroad and showcase their products. You talked about the collaboration and the opportunities and the pandemic, what has brought. I would just, with the permission, I would like to quote the famous lines of Vladimir Lenin. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks when decades happen. And this holds true in the pandemic time, when we are seeing in a country like India, in a large nation where there's so much of potential, there is a mind shift taking place. People are, the number of queries and the interest which is coming among the women to be entrepreneurs is significant. So that's a very positive change which we are witnessing. And of course, this also means those who are already in the business are considering to use extensively the technology, trying to go more into the e-commerce mode, or trying to diversify so that they can stay afloat. Uh, Personally, for me, if I have to give some inputs, I would say there is a huge opportunity between Indian and the Russian women-led teams to take up some new product developments or joint academic research. It could be in the form of new products. Say, uh, there is a lot of food being wasted globally. So what if two teams come together to develop solutions which are more on in terms of helping the world save its resources, help with the carbon footprint, and help save the climate? This new product can be developed jointly between the institutions here and the institutions there for the entire global market. That's just one thought which I'm sharing with you. There are more such similar initiatives which can be taken. Then there has to be increased number of women-led delegations visiting either side to explore the new market, understand the people, and especially seeing the pandemic and the way it has impacted the business, and that the technology would be required even in the post-COVID world. There has to be an increased number of technology exchange program, because artificial intelligence, e-commerce, these kind of initiatives can help women all across. So if there could be a joint learning programs with our counterparts, I think that would help really benefit women this side and the other side. Uh, Another is the language learning opportunity, because a woman entrepreneur, if they want to grow, or especially if they inspire to go internationally, language becomes usually a barrier. So I think that is something which we can jointly look at with our counterparts out there. So these are some of my thoughts, seeing that how we have evolved in terms of entrepreneurship, the journey where It was not a respectable profession, to a journey where increased number of women are looking at being entrepreneur, are keen to explore out nationally and internationally. I think some collective efforts such as this could really help both sides take up this journey forward. That's some of thoughts from my side. Thank you so much.
Спасибо большое, Перминдер. Я очень надеюсь,
Thank you,
что
Perminder.
часть
I
тех
hope
идей, которые
part of
вы
the ideas
предложили,
you've just
она
voiced
действительно найдет
will
воплощение
indeed
в
be
реальной жизни, и
implemented
наши
in
женщины
real
получат
life, and our women
дополнительные
will get
возможности.
additional
Вы
opportunities.
так красиво описали
You
ту
have
систему поддержки
described
именно
so
женского
beautifully the support
предпринимательства,
system of
которое
female
действует
entrepreneurship
в Индии. Вот
in
мы
place
здесь
in
с
India
Ларисой, которая
that
действующий
together with
предприниматель,
Larissa,
знаете,
who is an acting
послушав
entrepreneur,
я тоже понимаю, наверное,
having heard that,
что-то такое
we
открыть
realized
на
that we need
индийском
to
рынке. Я вот вчера поняла, послушав те
open
меры
something on the
поддержки,
Indian
которые
market, all those
есть
measures of
на
support that
территории
exist
Индии.
in India. I was also asked Veronica for a meeting with you because indeed it is promising, but I don't know even what to do and with whom.
Этому вернемся в конце.
We'll get back
Вот
to it at
простите,
the end.
буду тем
Sorry,
самым ужасно
I
жестким
will be
модератором,
this
который следит за
watchdog
таймингом
moderator
и контентом.
who follows
И буду
content
очень
and
рада,
timing,
если
and
как
I
раз
will be
таки вот эти
glad
практические
if
идеи, которые у нас
these practical
возникают
ideas
по
that
ходу нашего
arise
обучения и
in the
у
meantime
наших участников,
in
потому что
our
мероприятия не должны
participants,
проводиться ради
those measures
мероприятия, они должны
must
быть
not be done
выполнены
for the
ради
sake of
жизни, абсолютно.
events.
Но вот я хотела бы перейти к
I would
такому
like
блоку,
to make a
который не
transition
случайно
to
в нашей
another
программе есть.
set of
Блок, связанный с мерами поддержки
presentations
женского
concerning
предпринимательства
support
в
of
нашей
female
стране. И вот как
entrepreneurship in
Александра
this country.
упомянула,
Alexandra
что
just mentioned
Соединенные Штаты
that
50
the
стран,
US is
но
50
Российская
countries.
Федерация
The
это
Russian
тоже
Federation
85 регионов,
is 50,
и в каждом из
85
которых
regions.
есть своя
Each
изюминка и
has
своя
its own
специфика.
gist
И
and
я
distinctive
очень рада
feature.
предоставить слово
And I'm glad to give the floor
Гайцевцевой и Гайчевцевой
to
Ирине,
Irina
директору фонда
Gaichemtseva,
«Мой бизнес»,
director
представляющую
of My
Ханты-Мансийский
Business
автономный округ Гуджарат.
Foundation from
Чем
Khanty-Mansiysk
знаменита
Autonomous
эта
District.
потрясающая земля?
What this
Ну, хотя бы
land is
тем, что
famous
это
for.
единственный
This is
регион
the
в
only
Российской
region in the
Федерации,
Russian
губернатором
Federation
которого
whose
является
governor
женщина.
is a woman.
И поэтому тематика
And that's
поддержки
the
женских
subject of
инициатив, клуб
female
женщин
initiative
региональных
support
лидеров,
and
которые в Совете
regional
Евразийского
female
женского форума
leaders
возглавляет
club
Наталья
headed
Владимировна
by
Комарова.
Natalia
Это
Komarova
очень
in the
большой мост
Eurasian
для выстраивания
uh,
отношений и внутри
board
страны,
is a very good
и на
mechanism to
международных
build
рынках.
relations
Ирина, вот
domestically
расскажите,
and
пожалуйста,
internationally.
о том,
Irina,
как
please tell us
поддерживается женское
about support
предпринимательство
of
в
female
Ханты-Мансийском
entrepreneurship
автономном
in
округе Югре.
Khanty-Mansiysk
Какие
autonomous
программы могут
district. What
может
projects
предложить
can be
округ для
suggested by
женщин-предпринимателей?
the
Может быть,
district for
наши
female
участницы переедут из
entrepreneurs?
Индии к вам
Maybe our
в
participants
Ханты-Мансийск?
will resettle from India to Khanty-Mansiysk. I am glad to welcome you from sunny Yugra. First, I will tell you about the project which United Regional Female Leaders from Eurasia. The idea was born in 2018 at the Eurasian Female Forum. Participants of 10 countries got together to discussion club, female governance, strategy, efficiency, and territory development. We communicated, found many common problems. We realized that each participant has its experience in solving problems which can be useful to others. We realized that we must regularly meet. Moreover, we need a common platform to show successful practices. It was decided to create Eurasian Union of Women Regional Leaders. The coordinator is my governor, Natalia Komarova, the only female governor in Russia. It was very topical to create such a union, which is seen today in the context of new challenges, when it's necessary to overcome the pandemic consequences. We have many questions to discuss. For example, global trends in employment and female employment and youngsters employment, development of digital technology, alternative organization of labor, creation of new jobs, creation of creative industries. I want to mention the closest domain, development of entrepreneurship, which solves many problems at once. In our region, in Yugra, we implement special projects to popularize entrepreneurship amongst women, to create new projects and to scale them up. Female entrepreneurs get support on some aspects in education, finance, consulting, social and creative sphere. For them, we also have special measures of support. I want to mention education project, uh, uh, Entrepreneur Mother, which started in 2017, and more than 100 women have been trained. They defended their project and they are now implementing them, and the education is organized so that women with small children can study, and there is online education, which is very useful for women. Most importantly, for this mother entrepreneur project is the business plan competition. They not only learn, but prepare business plans and later get a grant to implement this project. I'd like to give another figure. More than 70% of socially oriented businesses and educational child education projects are implemented by women. Getting back to the subject I started with, to the Eurasian Union of Regional Female Leaders, there are more than 200 participants to exchange experience. There is a portal. The portal has information on 120 practices from 22 countries and 15 regions of Russian Federation. All these practices have been tested and ready for replication. In addition to communication in the internet, we decided to meet offline during the Eurasian Female Forum in St. Petersburg. And today, using the opportunity, I would like to invite you all to Khanty-Mansiysk, to the International Discussion Club of the European Club of Female Leaders. The subject is very topical: transformation of female employment during the pandemic in post-COVID period and digitization of employment process. It will be under the auspices of the 12th Forum with BRICS, June 16, 2021, and I invite you all to participate. Thank you, Irina. We've been discussing that we must come. I promised to come, and I always visit the hospitable land of Yugra, where many creative international initiatives are generated. Let's go to another part of this country. I'm glad that with us is Vera Shtakailo, Director General, the Center for the Development of Leningrad Province Industry. Many large companies selected this region for construction and entry of the Russian market with the industrial units. What can this province do for women today? Where are you going, and what export promotion measures exist or international cooperation with small medium enterprises. Afternoon, I'm glad to see you. Thank you, Veronica, for your invitation. We had good weather in St. Petersburg, but it's a little bit overcast. Nevertheless, what concerns female business support, St. Petersburg and Leningrad province has a better situation than our weather. As for supporting measures, it's a unique story of help to entrepreneurs and enterprises, because in the industry development we have three spheres: two national projects with federal funding, we have active cluster development, and supported by there was a cluster for lumber industry, for food processing, construction materials. This platform allows to raise issues and solve them on regional federal level. We see that this initiative comes from business. I would like to mention its uniqueness because we integrate clusters to export and into efficiency. It's comprehensive support, not from just the state of business, but from development side. We look what is necessary, what else can be improved, what support measures are necessary. And when last year, during the pandemic, we saw electronic e-commerce boom, but only small businesses can have support from export support centers. The Leningrad province went further and helped cluster participants to enter industrial platforms. FORDAC, for example, we consider Break-Key as an industrial platform for the cluster because we see efficiency. It's important to mention that it's not a story of subsidies, but when we paid for the company to get this service, it's like electronic services. We have other measures of support through market surveys, free participation in exhibitions. If we spoke about financial support in the past, the company doesn't spend money to participate in an exhibition. Today, we have feedback.
Что это, безусловно, еще издержки, которые мы берем на себя.
We also speak about
Тяжело
time
перестроиться.
expenses. In the pandemic, it's hard to reorganize. Many people had cuts in manpower.
Очень мало в той или иной отрасли. То, безусловно, штат сокращали в том числе и в маркетинговой части.
Manpower was also cut in the marketing department. Now we take these expenses
то мы видим, что это очень важно
exhibitions, etc. We see it's very important for the companies, and they are very efficient
В
now.
Центре развития промышленности у нас есть еще два национальных проекта, о которых я уже сказала. Акселерация малого и среднего бизнеса
of small medium business
предпринимательства на
and
экспорт и повышение производительности
export
труда.
entry,
Сейчас
and
мы
also improvement of
пакетные услуги, и мы также
efficiency. You know that RED is
но
now
мы
Russian
по пакетным
Export Center
услугам
is now
уже шли давно.
providing package services, which we also do. And the maximum
Только поиск партнеров, но у нее нет
efficiency is when you get this package and you don't have a good commercial proposal. Then we try to explain to the company that additional efforts are necessary. And these services are quite free.
экспортерам, да, и будущим, и существующим услуги
Help
в своем
exporters
бесплатно. Только некоторые из них
mostly
на
free of
условиях
charge.
софинансирования. Это маркетинговые
Or some
исследования, это адаптация
services are co-financed, like marketing services, translation of websites, certification. The rest is free of charge.
давно уже смотрели
As
на
for concrete suggestions, we consider the efficiency of packaged services, but we couldn't oblige the companies. So on federal level, there is a decision to provide packaged services, and we are glad because the efficiency will be higher. And thirdly, efficient work. We visit enterprises for 6 months and work with enterprises to raise their efficiency. Uniqueness of this center consists in the fact that we can develop entrepreneurs and enterprises from all sides. If the company comes for expert support, but it increased its earnings, I would like to mention in conclusion about female
Да, у
business
нас
support.
губернатор не женщина,
Indeed,
но тем не
our
менее
governor is not a woman, but
поддерживает женское
he
предпринимательство.
supports female
Есть, да,
entrepreneurship.
образовательная программа «Мама
We
предприниматель»,
have
и мы
also
видим
this
бизнес-проекты,
Mother Entrepreneur Project,
и потом к нам приходят за поддержкой уже из-за экспортной,
and
из-за
then people come for expert support and they enter
мы сейчас
clusters. We created Exporters Club
в прошлом году он активно
last
работал,
year. It worked actively,
мы меняем
and now
концепцию.
it is being reorganized.
Да,
If
наших
we
участников клуба экспортеров
consider
более
the
80%
exporters, more than 80% are women,
и это
leaders,
женщины, которые ответственны за экспорт.
women
И это очень
who
интересно,
are
да, потому что
responsible for export. Even if the manager is a man, he selects a marketing expert who is a woman.
думаем, да, что может быть
And
интересно
we think that it will be interesting to develop female activism with the club. Even the Middle East is now reorganized. When we go to Azerbaijan, we see that women
необходимо,
actively
что приезжают
interact. In
мы
the
уже
past, they said, no, it must be a man. Now we see that
контракты,
exporters
когда их
sign export contracts
и леди.
with women,
Соответственно, хотелось бы, я понимаю,
ladies.
время,
I understand we are
нам
pressed for
очень интересно
time,
развивать
but
это
we are
направление. Мы будем
interested in the development of this
экспортеров,
sphere
потому что,
as a
повторюсь,
club
да, у
of
нас
exporters,
есть предприятия,
because
которые
we have
возглавляют
enterprises headed by women, and they are actively involved in exports.
что в основном это именно пищевые
It's
производства.
basically food processing,
Пищевой кластер, да, и пищевые предприятия, они сейчас
processing cluster
большой интерес в странах Африки.
is
И мы проводили недавно
very
переговоры, что это
interesting for
интересная продукция,
Africa,
и мы продолжаем в этом направлении
and we
развивать.
continue working
Рады
on this.
взаимодействию, и
We'll
поэтому
be glad to interact with you.
хотелось бы дать еще подтверждение тому,
And I
что
would like
сказала.
also to confirm
Предприятия возглавляют
that
леди,
food processing
которые
plants
сейчас
are mostly headed by women
ищут
who
партнеров в
are looking
странах
for
Африки.
partners in Africa,
В ближайшее время
and
они
we
заключат
hope in
экспортные
the
контракты.
future they will sign export
Говоря про планы, да,
contracts.
того, что мы проводим
Speaking
с
of round tables
партнерами,
with our
и я очень надеюсь,
partners,
что с вами
I hope
проведем в ближайшее
Veronica
время с клубом
will have one with you,
потому что, безусловно, интерес
because
есть. И
there is interest,
необходимо повышать
and
культуру, да,
we need to raise export
безусловно, хотелось бы
culture,
держать женское
but we like
начало в этом
to
направлении.
support women here because
Это чуткость,
it
которая
would be
есть,
mostly efficient, because they
по
have
тому или иному
intuition,
покажет максимальный результат.
and
Но
it will yield maximum results. To conclude, I would like to speak about next plans by the end of the year. under the NIVA
запланированы
exhibition
в
planned
в Санкт-Петербурге.
for September in St.
Будет,
Petersburg.
уже, да, мы договорились, будет
We agreed
программа.
to
Такая уже,
hold
можно
a forum of the
давняя, да,
graduate of the
история.
presidential program. It's an old story.
Президентская программа уже там более 12 лет.
The presidential program has been around for 12 years. They gather every year under the presidential program. There is a female gathering where they hold round tables, and this women's gathering in St. Petersburg will be organized by the forum of the Skolkovo presidential program under the Baltic regional program in Neva exhibition. We'd like to interact with you and maybe broaden the program so that it's not only under the presidential program, but in the future. It's an interesting platform for growth of competences and communication. Thank
Я
you.
уверена, что
I'm
точек
sure
соприкосновения у нас может быть очень
we'll
много, и
have
я
many
буду рада
common
посетить
points. I will be
Санкт-Петербург,
glad to visit
поговорить с
St.
экспортерами
Petersburg
Ленинградской области,
and talk
и не
to
только экспортерами,
Leningrad
действующими, но,
province
возможно, и
exporters,
потенциальными, потому что
acting and potential ones,
сами
and
организации системы Объединенных ООН
the
тоже
United Nations
крупный закупщик на самом деле.
is also a
Который, к
large
сожалению, наши предприниматели
procurer.
недооценивают.
Unfortunately,
При том,
female
что,
entrepreneurs are underestimated,
объем закупок,
given the
который
fact that
ООН
the
делает для своих
procurement
целей, для своих проектов,
amounts for its own
сопоставим с
purposes
товарооборотом между Россией
is
и Казахстаном.
comparable to the
Очень большое число
turnover
проектов
between Russia and
ориентированы
Kazakhstan. Many
на
projects are
страны
oriented to
Африки, страны Латинской
African
Америки,
countries, Latin
на
America,
Ближнем Востоке. Вы совершенно
Middle
правы.
East.
Очень
You're
активная
quite
ассоциация
right.
женщин-предпринимателей.
There is an
И
active
потенциальные
association
партнеры,
of female
и
entrepreneurs.
сейчас
The
как раз
potential
в
partners
режиме электронной
are
торговли и открытия
through
физического
electronic
пространства
commerce and
тоже есть
physical
возможности, поэтому буду
space.
рада. Но я бы не хотела упускать
There are many opportunities, but I don't
связанную
want
с
to lose the subject
электронной коммерцией,
of
электронным взаимодействием, потому
e-commerce
что
and
в период
e-interaction
пандемии
because during the
какая
pandemic,
сложилась ситуация?
the situation
Развивается несколько
was that
секторов,
several sectors
которые,
developed,
наверное, если бы мы шли
which
по нормальному
probably if
четвертой
we
промышленной революции, мы бы
would
к тому, что
run
имеем
the fourth
через 15
industrial
лет.
revolution, we would
Но
get it
все
in
так
15
очень
years.
быстро и
But
концентрировано,
it
что
happened
тема
very
электронной
fast,
торговли
and
затронула
electronic
очень многих.
commerce
Мы стали электронно учиться,
touched
электронно получать
everybody. We
услуги,
started
электронно
to get
взаимодействовать.
electronic services,
Это
education,
позволяет
and interactions.
в разных
That's why
точках мира
many women in
находить
different
своих
parts of the
клиентов
world can find their
совершенно
clients
в других
uh,
частях света.
in,
То, что было вообще
which
невозможно
was
для наших
impossible
бабушек,
in the
было
past.
очень сложно для наших
For our
мам.
grandmothers
И
was
как
very hard,
очень
for
легко оказалось
mothers
добиться.
it's very easy for
Лариса,
us.
вот вы
Larissa,
представляете
you
именно
represent
электронную площадку электронной торговли,
e-commerce
и
platforms.
вы
You
опытная
have
действующая
experience
женщина-предприниматель, про которую
as
есть
a
такое
female
слово
entrepreneur,
предприниматель.
a
У вас,
serial
да, вот оно почему-то
entrepreneur, so to speak.
ассоциативно возникает, так называют
Uh,
предпринимателей
this,
и еще кое-кого.
you know, entrepreneurs and somebody else are
Формат
called serials.
именно создания проектов в разных сферах.
Creation of projects in different
Практический
areas.
аспект, как выходить на рынок,
How to
как
enter
выходить на экспорт.
markets, how
Вот
to
вы
enter
та
export
самая
markets.
российская
You are the
женщина-предприниматель,
Russian
которая
female
продает в 5
entrepreneur
стран мира,
who sells
еще
to
и
5
помогает
countries
продавать другим.
and
Вот
helps others to
родовая,
sell.
настоящая,
Here
еще
she
не
is,
какая-то не неземная, совершенно нормальная вот такая вот
not
девушка.
ephemeral, but
Это
quite
как так возможно?
real. How is it possible? Indeed, I have a plant in Leningrad province which produces ordinary dry breads. And 5 years ago, when I was in Italy at a plant, I was surprised that production is small, produced 300 kilos per hour, and warehouses were huge and they were exported to 59 countries from Italy. I was very much interested that Russia doesn't produce that much. We invited technologists. One of the reasons was expenses. We did a very dramatic decrease in cost, which was the key to success. Italy is doing everything with almonds. We are doing with peanuts and raisins. That's why we realized that business must be international, and we did all certifications. It just so happened. What shall we begin with? I admire this bunch of women Veronica has gathered because each of them is an encyclopedia of life, and I'm ready to undersign each of those words. Getting back to the first speaker from America, who said an important thing that we should compete not with the country, but with the commodity on the shelf. If we prepare worthy products, everybody asks me how to export. When I was doing it for export in my company,
Вот, кстати, почему я остановилась на 5
why
странах,
I
потому что мы фактически заняли все
stopped in
мощности.
5 countries, because we managed to occupy all the capacities.
И, соответственно, я
Hence,
поняла о том,
I
что,
realized that
ну, по большому счету, понятно, есть огромная,
ultimately,
очень дружим с Верой Юрьевной, огромное ей
I
спасибо за все помощи.
want to
Действительно,
thank
в
Vera
Ленинградской области
Юрьевна.
там по 2,5% женщина-предприниматель может получить
Women
тоже кредит.
get
И я
loans at 2.5% interest rate
Но
in
вопрос в том,
Leningrad
как это
province.
сделать.
But
Почему
how
какие-то
to do it?
выходят на экспорт,
Why
когда
some
будут
businesses
международными, а
become
какие-то нет?
international and
Вы
some
знаете,
not?
причина
The
в
reason
нас с вами, да,
is
если
in
мы мыслим
ourselves. If we
категориями
think
местными, да,
in
то мы
local
никогда не выйдем на
terms, we'll
международный рынок.
never
Я
enter
никогда не думаю о
international
своем
markets.
продукте, что его
I never
будут есть
think
в
of my
Ленинградской области, в
goods
Индии, в Америке
to
и
be
так
eaten
далее. Я
in
каждый раз
Leningrad,
думаю о
in
человеке,
India, in
который
America. I
будет
always
его
think about the
употреблять,
person who
да,
is going to
и
consume it.
это реально очень важно.
And
Все,
it's
что
very
сделано с
important.
душой, пользуется
Whatever's been
спросом.
made
Именно,
with good
наверное, да,
heart will be
действительно,
demanded
вот
for.
я не феминистка, нет, я
I'm not a
люблю мужчин,
feminist. I like
вот,
men,
но что касается
but as
отношения
concerns
женщин
relations
к бизнесу, да, это, наверное,
of women
все-таки
and business,
все равно что-то другое, да,
it's
только женщина,
something
наверное, может
else. Only
почувствовать вкус
women can
хлеба в той
feel
полноте, да, в которой
the
она может его
taste of
почувствовать.
bread,
И только
full-fledged.
женщина, наверное,
Only
знает,
woman
как
knows
действительно,
how
вот недаром же говорят, да, что за
to,
каждым успешным мужчиной всегда стоит
every
в очереди
successful
женщина,
man
да, потому
has
что
a
она понимает, как
woman
одеть,
behind
как
him,
сделать
because
и
she
что
knows how
сделать
to
дальше.
do and what to do next.
И, знаете, я воспитала двух
I
взрослых
raised two
сыновей, они все
sons
очень успешные люди, но
who
я
are
всегда им
both
говорила следующее, что
successful.
отличник от
I've
хорошиста
always
отличает
said that
10 минут времени.
uh,
Вот эти 10 минут, которые мы никогда не находим в своем бизнесе,
you
чтобы
need
обычный
10
человек сделать
minutes to become
уникальным. И
excellent or unique.
экспорт от
Export
России тоже отличается
from
вот
Russia
этими 10
is
минутами.
different
Понятно, что это какая-то
for these 10
условность,
minutes.
но
It's, of course, a conventionality, but
действительно, чтобы сделать выдающийся
indeed,
продукт,
to make an
нужно
outstanding product,
относиться к нему
you
изначально
need
как
to
к
treat it
выдающемуся продукту.
like an
Поэтому
outstanding product.
отдельная тема, которую
That's
хотелось бы
why it's
затронуть,
a
это,
different
безусловно,
subject
имидж. Я, безусловно,
of
перед электронной
image.
торговлей, но
Electronic
Я вас буду торопить.
да.
um,
Все кратко, спасибо, Вероника.
commerce is, of
И,
course, very
собственно
important.
говоря, безусловно, когда я говорила про
When I
59 стран
spoke
мира не
about
случайно,
59 countries,
самое
it
простое,
wasn't
вот представьте, что такое офлайн,
coincidental.
поговорить с
Imagine
50
talk
странами
to
мира, да, это просто
59
буквально таких
countries
моментов.
offline.
Поэтому мы провели достаточно долгое
That's why
исследование,
we
путешествуя по огромному
conducted a
перечню площадок, которые
survey
существуют в настоящий
of
момент в мире. Почему мы
platforms,
выбрали Trade Key?
and we
Trade Key – это площадка для малого и
chose the
среднего
trade
бизнеса от
key for a
Alibaba,
small and medium
где
business.
малый бизнес, да,
where small business, represented mostly by Russia, competes not with giants, but with their peers. And it's very comfortable platform in 240 countries and with very good managers we deal with, communicate, and we see the projects. You can look in the presentation, which will be later. But I want to say that why e-commerce? That when the colleague from Russian Expert Center appeared, first of all, if tomorrow 31 buyer didn't phone you, it's first of all image. When you become an international company, as soon as you place yourself on the international marketplace, you become international company. So it's said when we get screenshots from Russian websites. I said, could you please place it? Dear colleagues, the first impression can be spoken only once. By the time you enter the international market, you must prepare as if you enter a dancing ball. The product itself. Secondly, dear colleagues, it's very important. When you go to international markets, be a woman in your project. Must look beautiful and imagine yourself as a foreign buyer. What he will find about you in the language he can read. And in one live case, we found a good partner, famous company, whose name I won't mention, who asked me, do they all know English? And they said, yes, sure. And this manager made only one mistake. He mentioned it in the past tense. So the partner thought it was a bankrupt and the multi-million business failed. When you go international, there are no minor issues. When you go to the international market, there are no small details. They're all important. If you think that somebody didn't notice something that's not true, please check 10 times. Or better, don't go anywhere because it's very hard to make a comeback. It's a very hard preparation. If you can't do that, ask professionals. We don't trust our partners in the good sense of the word because we take care of them. We do it ourselves. And next aspect is that export is hard work. 24 hours when on January 2nd, with managers who translated to 19 languages, I said to them that we sent inquiry on Pete, and the company responded. Some companies didn't. I sent 22 requests to one of the managers for the International Women's Day. I think what can be said, all the contacts would be in Veronica's hands, but I want to say it's a unique opportunity to demonstrate yourself to the world. Larissa, I will ask you another thing. It's a hard job, it's an important job. When you go international, dear colleagues, equally concerns Indian entrepreneurs who want to come to Russia, Russian entrepreneurs who want to go international. it's an issue when you want to participate on the international arena. We have such a Russian distinctive feature. Oftentimes, we do not properly formulate in terms of the law. It's our culture. We have several national Russian distinctive features. I am glad that there is another female entrepreneur, Irina, who represents Berlizov Group, family law business, which concentrates on issues about which we heard and we ignore them in vain, particularly when you want to work with the international market. When we cooperate with international markets and we touch upon brands, products, technologies, etc., how to make the effect you are counting on. Irina, lawyers are the ones who make our other people's life hard or what? Yes, that's what people think about lawyers. But the main task is to make business safe so that money is not flowing out from company. If their sales manager attracts money, the lawyer's job is not to lose money on unsuccessful contracts, wrong documentation, etc. So the lawyer's task is to help business and make it safe from inside for the owners and to interact with all the counterparts. Speaking of female business, I can say that lawyers and law business has always been male job. Fortunately, in Russia, we can speak about equal rights. Frankly, I can say that there is no equality in law business. In Russia, there are more than 70% of judges are women. We are a unique country. The lawyer here is a female face. Dear foreign participants, that's the distinctive feature of this country. But these are judges. If we look at the first persons in law firms, it's men, but the partners are women in all big law firms, although there is some bias, but the roads are quite open in the law business. Can be any domain, including criminal justice, and there is a choice for the woman, and the law profession is now reviving from what was in the 1990s, when everybody would go who wanted a tough profession. Now, fortunately, there is a revival of the profession. And in addition to what Larissa said, that the image is very important on the international market, I can say that the image, the brand are all important, and they show the face of the company, but there is also a trademark which protects this face. And it's very important that the registration and protection of intellectual property lately, during the pandemic, international intellectual property registration has become very developed. Rospatent statistics shows skyrocketing growth of registration of patents and intellectual property, IP.
Просто не вставить
I
в
can't help
вот важность
mentioning
примера. В июне
the
месяце
importance.
2 года назад я была на
2 years
выставке
ago
в
in
Китае
June, I
с
was in
брендом
China with our Monica brand,
И вы знаете, меня все
Cantuccia,
фотографировали, все
and
подписывались и так далее.
everybody was
2
taking pictures.
месяца
In 2
мы
months,
подготовили поставку с
we,
брендом
create,
Моника. Он был
we created a
зарегистрирован в Китае
delivery
за
with
2
Monica
месяца.
registered in
Нам пришлось
China
менять
in 2
бренд,
months.
менять поставку.
We had to
Это
change the brand and
Очень жаль, что
cancel
вы встретились
delivery.
только сейчас. Но я
Unfortunately,
надеюсь,
you
что
met
там все
just
будет
now.
по-другому.
I think it will change
Да,
later.
уважаемые
Dear
участницы, вот
participants,
здесь хочется сказать так.
I want to say,
Когда начинаете
when
только ходить
you
первым
just
шагом на
start
международный рынок,
the
пожалуйста,
first
не делайте
foreign
этого без
steps,
юриста,
don't do it
потому
without
что
a
потом вы будете
lawyer,
менять бренд.
because
Сколько
after that you
стоили
will have to
сколько
change the
стоили
brand.
услуги? Я думаю, гораздо меньше, чем
I think
переделать всю упаковку.
these services were cheaper than remaking the whole packaging.
Чудненько, чудненько. В общем, Ирина, думаю, вам в
I
копилку.
think it's for your benefit.
Нематериальные активы становятся очень важным
Yes, intangible assets have become
экономическим
very
инструментом в
important
последнее
economic
время.
instruments.
И
And
как обычно выглядит
as
выход на
usual,
международный рынок, да? Ну,
the entry
поиски
to the international
партнеров,
market
регистрировали,
looks
может быть,
like
компанию или филиал,
finding partners,
просто
registration of
какой-то
company,
представитель, который
branch
представляет интересы
representative,
компании, и дальше начинаем
and then you
торговать.
start
Очередной момент
selling.
сбыта, мы молодцы, работаем.
We are fine and
Но
we are working,
интеллектуальная
but
собственность, и в частности товарные
IP
знаки, дают
and
возможность посмотреть на
trademarks
выход на международный
enable
рынок немножко с
you
другой стороны.
to look at it
Со стороны
differently.
франшизы.
From the
Франшиза дает
franchise point of view,
значительно
franchise
больше
allows
возможностей
you
для выхода на
more
международный рынок.
to
Во-первых,
enter
в
international
первую
markets.
очередь,
First of
это
all,
значительно более дешевый
it's a
способ выйти на международный
cheaper
рынок,
way
потому что
of
у вас
entering
есть партнер,
international markets because
который
you have a
с той
partner
стороны
who,
выполняет
on the
за
other
вас
side,
франчайзи, да, как
does
человек,
the
который делает бизнес под
franchisee,
чужой торговой маркой. Он
he
выполняет за вас основные
performs
задачи по
main
исследованию местного
tasks
рынка,
on
по
market
маркетингу, по
surveys,
рекламе,
marketing,
вносит
advertising.
основные
He
какие-то фонды в развитие своего
makes
бизнеса, хоть и под вашей торговой
contributions
маркой.
to
В результате
business development under
мы
your
имеем
trademark.
бизнес, который
As a result,
развивается,
the business
бренд,
is
который
developing, the
развивается,
brand is
бренд, который
developing,
становится все
the
более и
brand
более узнаваемым.
becomes more
При этом для
recognizable
франчайзера, то есть
for the
владельца торговой
franchisor,
марки,
for the owner of the
расходы на
trademark.
это
The
значительно
costs
снижаются.
are
Да,
much
безусловно, какие-то расходы на
lower.
создание
There are
торговой
some
марки,
costs
на
on the trademark,
продвижение именно франшизы на
promotion of
зарубежный
the
рынок, безусловно.
franchise.
Но при
They do
этом
exist, but
все равно
at the same time,
отдача, которую
the
франчайзи
effect
получает от того,
of
как
for the
раскручивается его
franchisor
бренд, от того,
from
как он
brand
продвигается на международный
promotion
рынок,
on the
значительно
international
больше.
market
И когда
is
франчайзер
greater.
выходит
But the
уже сам своими
franchise
мощностями на международный рынок,
goes
ему
international
гораздо
with his
проще это сделать, потому
capacities.
что
It's
бренд
easier
уже
to do because the
узнаваемый,
brand is
бренд уже знают,
recognizable,
и
well
в этом
known,
случае расходов на
and
маркетинг будет в любом
there will
случае
be
гораздо меньше, о чем
fewer
Лариса говорила.
marketing costs, as
Если вы
Larissa
там в
mentioned.
одной стране есть, да,
If you
вы
exist
уже
in one
можете сказать у
country,
себя на сайте, что вы
you can
международная
show
компания.
that you are
И
an
если у вас есть
international
франшиза,
company.
проданная в
If there
одну
is a
страну,
sole
вам
franchise in
гораздо проще
one
будет
country, it's
выходить на
Скажите,
easier.
международный
пожалуйста, Ирина, вот для
Please
наших
tell me,
международных
Irina,
участников,
for
кто
our
сейчас
international
нас
participants
слушает,
who are
вот
online,
скажите, вы как компания
as a company,
можете быть проводником
can you be a
для женщин-предпринимателей из
guide
других
for
стран по
female
заходу на российский рынок?
entrepreneurs to enter the Russian
Потому
market?
что, ну, я вот себе представляю себя, не знаю,
I
предпринимательницей из
imagine
Калькутты
myself a
или из
Calcutta
королевства Бахрейн, и вот думаю, вот я бы захотела
or
прийти на тот самый
Bahrain,
российский рынок,
and I would
который мы
like
так
to enter
рекламируем.
the Russian
Скажите,
market.
как, с кем,
How and with
где мне
whom
все
and
эти детали
where
узнать,
shall I
что
find
мне
these
в этом году
people?
делать?
What
Вот
shall I
вы
do?
как бизнес, вы
As
как партнер,
business, as a
можете быть вот
partner,
таким
can you be
помощником? Те, кто нашел партнера
assistant?
через
Those
электронную
who
площадку,
found
а вот дальше-то
partners
что?
through the electronic
Да,
platform.
вот
What
хорошо, вот
next?
они там нашли друг друга,
They
прекрасно.
found
Дальше
each
что?
other. What
Вот
next?
вы здесь можете
Uh,
практически
can
помочь
you practically
женщинам-предпринимателям?
Да,
help
вероятно,
female
безусловно, мы
entrepreneurs?
можем
Sure.
помочь в данном
we can help to organize business from initial registration. We have business consultants, marketing specialists who wanna help with target audience, with marketing, who can focus on distinctive features of the Russian market, which will be very interesting, because the product may be wonderful, but it may have the wrong name. You heard good example of Chevrolet, which entered the South American market, and there was a Chevrolet Nova car, but in Spanish, Nova means it doesn't ride, doesn't roll. Remember, on the Russian market, the car was called Zhiguli, but where Lada came from? Zhiguli appeared in Italy. What was the association? Gigolo. That's why partners in the country, in the target country for business, requires a local partner, because local partner will help with some nuances which can build the face or destroy it. During post-pandemic, there is active development of the creative industries sector, where intangible assets and human creative factor is very important, and IP becomes the only asset, because in creative entrepreneurship concerning services, there is just a computer on the table, except intellectual property. For this sphere, do you have specific suggestions, because this market is developing faster than the global economy? Creative industries have 15% growth annually. Globally, in this country, we also rely on interaction in creative industries. The Indian example is very important, because there are many creative entrepreneurs there. For creative businesses, do you work with it? Not with those who have a plant, but who are small but very active and creative. Do you do anything? During the pandemic, the sense was that except intellectual property, people have nothing else, because during the pandemic, enormous number of courses, books, and time appeared to create something creatively, and many products of this creation. We work with blogs, because for them it's very important. Bloggers, information businesses, from whom content is stolen. So IP problems and their protection is very acute for them, and it's very important to track what is going on the market, where their products appear, and to defend their rights with the platforms which place them illegally. That's why info business works a lot. Not all info businessmen know that we can combat it, or try at least. And the trademark is an enormous advantage when fighting for intellectual property. Thank you. Alexandra, if you are with us, I'd like to ask you to comment what Larissa and Irina were talking about: e-commerce as instrument, IP, and IP protection Um,
Из Голливуда, знаете, такое
from
впечатление, что
Hollywood, the
американец не
impression
делает ни
is that
одного
the
шага без юриста.
Americans never
Тем
make a
более, когда
single
выходит
step
на
without a lawyer,
международную
especially
арену.
internationally.
Александра, вот прокомментируйте,
Alexandra, could you
пожалуйста,
please comment
насколько в
to
вашей
what extent
практике
in your
международного
practice
предпринимательства
of
важна
international
работа
entrepreneurship,
с
the work
электронными
with
средствами и защита
electronic
интеллектуальной
means
собственности?
and
Вот
IP
как вы
protection
видите эту
is
проблему
important?
и что вы
How you see this
посоветуете
problem?
нашим
What would you
участницам?
suggest to our participants? Veronica, it's a very important issue. The most important things entrepreneurs can do on the international market and working on the domestic market is to have good lawyers, good accountants, CPA, and specialists. It's important how the contract is signed. All the nuances must be emphasized. Your intellectual property must be registered, your trademarks, patents in different countries. If you work on the international market, register them on the international market. There is a Madrid Convention which allows you to register simultaneously in many countries. In the US, a contract is very important. It's important in what state it was signed. Everything concerning rent, employment, contracting is significant. I recommend everybody, company leaders, if you are going international, particularly on the American market, make sure you have good lawyers who will protect your interests, because this contract will be very significant if something
Спасибо
goes
большое,
wrong.
Александра.
Thank you,
Коллеги, я
Alexandra.
думаю,
Dear
что
colleagues,
у
I
нас
think
получилась такая очень
we
практикоориентированная
have a very
дискуссия.
practice-oriented discussion.
Вот я для себя открыла
I
еще несколько
discovered
возможностей,
a
как
few
и те,
opportunities,
кто были сегодня у нас спикерами, и
as well
какие
as
могут
those
быть
who spoke today,
дополнительные шаги.
about
Я
additional steps.
надеюсь,
I
что
hope
для
for
наших участниц
our
из числа
participants,
женщин-предпринимателей, уже
female
действующих, и из
entrepreneurs,
тех, кто только думает о том,
those
чтобы
who are
развивать свое
thinking
дело,
about developing their own
сегодняшняя
business,
экономическая
today's
ситуация,
economic
она с одной
situation,
стороны
on the
сложная,
one hand,
а с
is
другой стороны
complicated. On the
дает
other hand,
такие
it
возможности,
offers
которых раньше никогда не
opportunities
было.
that have
На
never
одной
existed.
площадке сразу много
On
стран
one
мира.
platform, you see many countries,
Регистрируешься, и
you
твой
register,
продукт
and your
могут
product
тиражировать
can
вне
be
зависимости от
replicated
физического продукта,
regardless
а
of
ты
physical
получаешь доступ
product,
к рынку.
and you get access to
Грамотное
market,
представление, поиск
professional
надежных
ideas,
партнеров и
and
ведение с ними дел–
reliable
это
partners
новые возможности
are
освоения
new
рынка.
opportunities
И
for
здесь женское
market
сообщество
development, and the
может
female
предоставлять
community
и
can
дополнительные
provide
возможности, и
additional
условия для развития
opportunities and
бизнеса,
conditions for business
и, я бы
development.
сказала так, и
And I
новые
would say
инсайты для вдохновения.
new
Я благодарю
insights for
всех наших
inspiration. I want to
участников
thank all the participants
за тот вклад,
for
который они
the
сделали в
contribution they have
развитие женского
made
предпринимательства.
to
Верю,
female
что рано или
entrepreneurship.
поздно мы
I
с вами
believe sooner or
достигнем вот той
later
самой
we'll
цели
achieve the
прибавить к
goal
мировой экономике
to
еще
add
один Китай, еще
one
одни
more
Соединенные Штаты
China
Америки
and the
только
US
за
to
счет
global
женского
economy,
потенциала.
thanks to the
Благодарю всех.
female potential.
Отдельное
Thank
спасибо.
you.
Очень хотим
Special
поблагодарить
thanks.
вас.
I want to thank
Я
you,
очень хочу пригласить вас,
Veronica.
чтобы было продолжение,
Please,
которое мы потом
let's
сможем обсудить.
continue
Обязательно.
so that we can
Обязательно
discuss it.
мероприятия делаются не для мероприятий, а для того, чтобы
We are
создать
doing
новые
it
импульсы, новые возможности.
for new
И
impulses
большое
and
спасибо
opportunities.
нашим
Much thanks
организаторам
to the
и нашим
organizers
переводчикам.
and
Без них нам было бы
translators,
гораздо сложнее.
without whom it
Всего
would be
доброго, до
difficult.
свидания, коллеги.
Thank you. Goodbye, colleagues.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you.
Так, мы еще сфоткаемся сейчас на пресс-фоле. Приветствую вас. Я Павел Долгов, топ-эксперт по коммуникациям, действующий предприниматель, вице-президент Ассоциации экспортеров и импортеров. Я не просто теоретик, я практик. Мои компетенции: конгрессно-выставочная деятельность и событийная отрасль, совокупный опыт более 20 лет. Общественная деятельность, международные связи и бизнес-миссии, совокупный опыт более 10 лет. Я соучредитель ряда компаний в конгрессно-выставочной, событийной отрасли и цифровизации. И более 10 тысяч проведенных мероприятий. Я являюсь одним из создателей и бессменным главой оргкомитета ежегодной выставки форума, Международный день импорта и экспорта, а также спикером конференций и форумов. Чем я буду полезен вам? Поиск партнеров в России и за рубежом, локализация предприятий, деловая переписка и маркетинговые исследования, создание и управление проектами. Все это ко мне. Наша команда. Я и мои коллеги делимся экспертизой. Я сэкономлю ваши нервы и деньги. Мы поделимся своими контактами для развития вашего бизнеса. Со мной гораздо эффективней и безопасней. Нужна помощь или совет? Пишите и подписывайтесь. Я всегда в доступе. И вступайте в ассоциацию